I'm just seeing if it works. So there you go.
All right, so on my end, it says we're streaming on YouTube,
Oh, okay.
but
Well,
at the same time, it's not fixed either.
interesting. All right, everybody. Well, I'm ending this live now that I know that it works. Have a good day. Bye. Okay, so that worked.
All
That
right,
worked.
Sarah. We should be on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
So
I'm still gonna
now
try if we can go on the other one.
we will not be able to see the comments.
Yeah. No? Let's see. Post details. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, it shows us live
Cool.
on. Oh God, they only see me. I don't want that.
Oh, well, because you have to make it so that it you could probably share your screen, I bet. Check in. I don't know what group. Okay.
Yeah, set the gallery.
I'm still
Maybe because your video's not on.
maybe I I can't start the video because I'm trying to go live on Facebook. So I guess we're not doing that. I guess it's not going to work.
No,
Okay. All
because
right.
Facebook has ridiculous settings now. It doesn't let you do
Yeah.
anything.
So, okay. Well, do you want to? Oh, we should probably just at least share the link, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to take the one that I just put up there down because it's horrible. It froze my face.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Technical issues
Yeah,
all
we're
day
having
long.
some issues, you
So I
guys.
guess what they'll have to do is go to YouTube to chat.
Yeah, it'll be really easy. So if you just share the YouTube, what is our YouTube, by the way? New Jersey Parents for Virtual Choice, everybody? Is that what we're doing
I
over
believe
here?
so. I'm sharing it right now on the
Perfect.
Facebook.
Hi, we're
Oh
noobs.
my God, it's showing my face. Why is that?
Let me see.
It's annoying. It's like it froze in
There we
time.
go. I'm not
Did you put it up?
I'm not seeing us live though. I'm not seeing a live. Oh, there we are. Okay. But
All right, can you share it?
I'm kind of frozen.
You are frozen. This is just nuts.
All right. So there is a bit of a delay. So there's that. So
Mhm.
I don't want to hear myself, so I just muted YouTube on my side.
Yeah, I have to do that also.
Yeah.
All right, let me mute that.
Yeah. All right.
It shows us live.
Wow, you're really breaking up too. Okay, so well, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to copy and I'm going to share.
Yeah, I'm freezing now.
Yeah, you're really breaking up. Do you have too many
Mhm.
apps open now? Yeah, because you have
Probably.
Zoom and yeah. All right. No problem. We're just gonna make a happy little post.
Okay, you make a happy little post. And I'm actually going to get off of Facebook because it's killing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get off of Facebook.
to everything but this now. I'll be able to see the questions, I think, on YouTube. So 3 people are watching.
Yeah,
Trying
should
to
be able
see
to.
where
All
the
right,
comments would come in.
so I just posted our link on our Facebook page. So hi, we are New Jersey Parents for Virtual Choice. And we're really good at technology. So of course we're talking about virtual education. Of course we are. Because we're damn good at it.
I guess it proves all the naysayers points here.
Yeah.
You know how so we have to invite everybody a different way because Facebook just does not like pages to go live anymore without having to invite people to subscribe. So with that said, you can post your questions on YouTube. If you would like to join the live, just say you would, and we will share a link. I started this 4 years ago now with 3 other women. I am the lone parent survivor. Everybody's graduated or moved on, or hey, they just don't need virtual anymore, and that's okay. So Miss Sarah has been my right hand along with Tilly. And so Sarah, I don't know, maybe we should go into because I'm trying to see the YouTube, which is kind of difficult.
Yeah, there's no chatters right now. But that can change. So what we tried to do on the Facebook side of the house was pose the question. And that question is, why is having a virtual education option important to you and your family? And whether you're a parent right now watching this, whether you're a student right now watching this is primarily in New Jersey, although it does affect, obviously, so many other different states. But we are focused primarily on New Jersey because that's where our kids are going to school right now. And when the pandemic started, of course, everybody was in-person education. Everybody had a butt in the seat, so to speak, and that's what they like to talk about all the time. But when the pandemic hit, we had to kind of shift gears and we had to figure out, well, what's our plan B? All right, because people need to be educated. How do we do that? How do we do that in a way that's thoughtful and, not disruptive? And so the schools did their very best plan B at the time with, little to no, I don't know what's the word, little to no, planning. They really kind of threw stuff together to see if it would stick. And so unfortunately for us, well, not really unfortunately. So in that scenario, there were kids that had challenges still. There were kids who were very successful. There was a mixed bag, but New Jersey's having a really hard time, you know, trying to see it with an open-minded point of view for the most part. I would say that they're using the plan B that we threw to the wall to try to make work, and in like a nanosecond, they're making that oh gosh, if that's what virtual looks like, we don't want anything to do with it. When, let's be honest, it's 2024. And if schools are having difficulties adapting to technology, like we are trying to get the stream going, but if schools are having a difficult time, then, we just need to do better. That's all. And we need to uncover all the different types of options because everybody learns differently. We know this. And it's not a one size fits all. And Deanna, we've talked about this many times. Like, your kids' experiences is different from mine. And even though they were different, we still are coming together to try to figure out, okay, like, we know that there needs to be more options other than in school education and what those look like. So from your point of view, why don't you talk about, what it was for you and your kids?
Well, for us, it actually works, and I'm not the crisis learning. The crisis learning, everybody was thrown into it, right? Everybody had no option whatsoever. And guess what? A lot of people didn't like it. But as September came along and September through the following year, a lot of people found that they actually liked it. And some kids actually did better. And you're talking special needs kids, neurodiverse, honor students, children with medical issues. everybody around that spectrum of students, there is at least a handful of them that did even better that way. So now it's how much more do we have to prove? So you have my three kids. One went from failing to having a 4.0. The work is not easier. It is, in fact, harder because you have to be a good visual learner to be able to do virtual learning. You can't just throw any kid into it. So we went from struggling in person to actually doing fantastic virtually. And 4.0, if that isn't enough for anyone to recognize, hey, Sarah, just because my kids do better that way doesn't mean yours has to. You know, we just want that option. And now we're homeschoolers because of the lack thereof.
Yeah, absolutely. And every time you say homeschool, I'm just like, and I've said this before, like you couldn't pay me enough to homeschool. Okay, maybe you could pay me enough to homeschool, but homeschooling is not for me. I work full time from home. I don't want to be a homeschool parent. So for me, virtual was great because, my daughter and I are both on the internet all the time. We're very familiar with like the Discords of the world, the Twitches of the world, the YouTube. So all the different types of platforms that you can, you can kind of collaborate on, virtually. All right, online, whatever you want to call it. So for us, it was like, oh, you have to log on to like a, Google Classroom. All right, cool, no big deal. But, you know, she didn't like it. She wasn't hugely successful. And it wasn't because it was virtual. It was just, there are other things at play. Just the fact of, being in school versus being online. The curriculum has to be engaging. It has to be, it has to keep the kids' attention. And of course, when you are at home, there's going to be more probably of a distraction, right? You got the TV going. I personally like having the white noise in the background. This is new. This was very new. Like when would kids ever go through that, right? But my daughter, she struggled. And on top of it, she was also diagnosed with epilepsy simultaneously. So we were really fighting an uphill battle at the time. And so while virtual wasn't like the best option for her, it worked for us at the time. And she was very happy to get back in person schooling. She loved seeing her friends. She loved being there. But because of her condition, she would have issues. She would have to go home. She missed a lot of school frequently. And because of that, the school was not very forgiving. And they said, all right, well, you have too many absences. Now your option is you have to stay back year after year. You have to go to summer school, which, by the way, if you were to join summer school, you weren't allowed to miss a day. Sorry, seizures don't happen, please, because my daughter needs to have summer school. I mean, it's just, there's this rigidity that comes with the foundation that schools are built on. And a lot of it's not their fault. It's, this old-timey, stoic, stodgy stuff, right?
Right. And kids way back when, what did they do? They used to go to school and then go work on the farms.
Right.
You know?
Right.
They didn't. And yeah, you know what? Guess what? The kids got sick back then too. Guess what? Kids had epilepsy back then. You wouldn't put an epileptic child in the middle of a field in 100-degree weather either.
Right.
Like it really, it's sad.
Yeah, it is. And, I always go back to this because, I ended up having to pull her out of school, unfortunately, because there wasn't a virtual option. And so for me, a virtual option means the ability to log on to an ongoing live session at any time if needed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, from what I understand, and I probably need to do more research on this, but I don't know that it's, it may be frowned upon or not approved to have cameras in the classroom.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole different scenario and
Right.
ball game that New Jersey would have to occupy first,
Right.
and that privacy laws really come into play there, even
Right.
though
And
it's a public place.
right, exactly. So that needs to be looked at because the fact that we're live streaming right now and people are able to participate whenever they can that would be a huge win if we could actually implement something like that in schools. People live stream all the time. Why couldn't, if they're logging into a Google Classroom, have a live session open where a child who, is homesick, they can actually log in and, get the same exact in-person style education, except they're viewing it through a camera. They still get the same content. They're not missing anything. They get to ask questions. If they can always email, they're already using email. Everything's already communicated via email anyway. Why can't that be an option? So that's what it means for me.
And it's like, think about it, 20 years from now, where are we going to be?
Right.
Right. They had said when I want to say when we were in like third grade, second grade, that one day we would have phones where we would be able to see each other. And look at that. We have phones, we have apps, we have everything. Now, granted, though, I fall back to kids that can't do it shouldn't have been forced to do it, number one. So that was the first failure in New Jersey. We didn't have a program. And New Jersey cannot be the best without a virtual public option. And even if it's a charter virtual, you cannot claim to be the best when you lack certain things. Now, well over 35 states have an option. And if we had one prior to 2020, the learning loss would have never been as severe. And maybe, just maybe, they would have been able to manipulate leaving the schools open because there were going to be a select amount of students that were going to be able to go, do virtual. But New Jersey has this persona that virtual learning is bad. It's only bad because of how New Jersey did it. That's why it was so bad.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, and like you said, there's other things that, come into play too, right? Like we have accessibility problems. All right. We have major accessibility problems. I mean, right now, what they're doing in the schools is now that the kids are back in school in person full time, they're still giving them all access to
Chromebooks.
The Chromebooks, right?
Yeah.
So you have to bring your Chromebook. You have to bring your Chromebook to every Chromebook. I want to say Chromebook, the Chromebook to every class. You have to, in not all classes use it,
No.
for the live session, but like you bring it in there and you have to drag it around like you used to have to carry a book bag full of books with you. So it's kind of like we're kind of getting there. Like we have the idea of, okay, we're going to have to bring a computer with us everywhere we go. We may not be using it all the time, but they're using it almost as a notebook, right? Instead of the lined paper, now we're using it as a notebook. Why can't we just take it a step further? You're like, what's stopping us?
I don't know. I think people think that maybe the pens and pencils will automatically go away if kids are learning virtually, and that is false. My kids still utilize pens and pencils and tons of paper doing their work. They still know how to write. They didn't lose that. They still have to use, and work out their algebra problems,
Yeah.
A computer just doesn't give them the answer. Now, the program that we use, it knows exactly what the kids are doing. So if they go to click and they are going to look at something, they're going to get busted.
Yeah.
If they're going, say, to cheat. Could it be kids, back in 2020, what were the most issues that I heard was, oh, kids weren't paying attention. Well, if they behave that way at home, chances are they did the same thing in school. So what is the difference? My children sat at attention. My children raised their hands when their teachers called on them. My students weren't jumping around, right? They were sitting there doing their work. They weren't gaming. And that, to me, that's a parenting issue with everything that was going on.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You can't expect a lot of children to just sit there and stare at a screen. Some of them can't do it.
Of course. And there's the ability to do breakout rooms and all this other stuff. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be 100% virtual. It just needs to be an option. And that's like our biggest goal is that they can complement each other. In school can complement virtual. Like
Well,
it,
yeah.
there's just we have to find a happy medium, all right? Because here's the reality. Here's the reality. We're keeping these kids like captive in the mindset that you have no choice but to go in person. And I'll tell you what that actually breeds going forward in life, all right? And we're already seeing pushback now. It's like I remember when I got my first job and my dad was like, you have to always go to work. You can't miss day. You can't, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
Right. And then all of a
Yep.
sudden you go into your job and they're just like, we're gonna pay you X amount of, whatever dollars to work X amount of hours. But not only that, we're gonna expect you to drop everything. And like, guess what? Your job is your priority. So sometimes you're gonna have to work overtime and sometimes you're gonna have to miss out on things. And what we're finding now since the pandemic is like, I feel worse for the kids. I feel like people in the workforce that don't have to do the physical labor, right? Like it's different.
Hmm.
Like I work fully remote now. My company closed their main office and everybody's working remote. And you know what that led to? Better quality work life balance. People love it now. Yeah, we can get together if we want. We started hubs. So we are very deliberate about planning events together. Okay. And then there's balance now. You pick and
Yeah.
choose when you want to do it and you get excited to do it. It's not being force fed to you. It's a nice balance. And so that to me is like these kids are going to get out of school going, "Oh my God, this is really what life has in store for us." You mean I don't actually have to go in
They're,
and into an office all day? I can actually work online. This is the best thing ever. It's
well,
happening
and that
already.
too, like when you think about it, they're going to be thrown into a world where they were stuck in a classroom. They were stuck in a classroom. Yeah, granted, 6 hours a day, it's almost the same thing, right? For kids to learn at home, but it's different. They are able to go outside. They are able to do their classes outside. They can sit out there. They can sit under trees. They can have a picnic and learn while they're enjoying their environment. So
Yeah,
our in-person experiences, one was good, one was okay, and one
right.
wasn't exactly fantastic. And it actually was not good at all, but that's neither here nor there. I guess the problem that leads us to is the socialization issues. How will they socialize? Well, gee, do they really get that much socialization inside school? I mean, high schools, most of them are on block schedules, right? Block schedules, they have 3 minutes to get to the next classroom. Is that
Yeah.
enough time? Hey, Brent, I gotta go. I gotta run. Elementary
No.
school, what? They get minutes to food down their throats to hurry up and go run out for, and they don't even have a lot of time to do that. So, and you'll always say, no one talk. I mean, I don't know.
I know. At a certain point, you know, legislators, the peeps making the decisions have to really actually understand what's happening. And that block schedule is like a perfect example. There is no time for socialization. So what are we actually talking about? Are we
Yeah,
like holding on to dear life for like this old timey way of how we used to all be together? It's not the same anymore. You know how these kids
no,
interact with each other? Through
yeah.
through Snapchat. Okay. Like that they keep in touch throughout the day, like that way outside of school, before school. Like it's
Right.
different
They
now.
they can still talk.
Yes, that's right. That's
It's
right.
like they're not
Socialization is different. It's different now.
it's
And I think
not
if people,
like it was when we were
that's
kids.
right.
When we were kids,
Right.
we were outside until the lights came on.
Yeah, it's just
You
not the
know,
same.
you can't let your kid go a couple hours without talking to them because of the nature of
Yeah.
how this world is right now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just it's there's always that argument against it, right?
Yep.
Always. So you
There
have
always is.
my kid didn't do good, so guess what? It shouldn't be allowed. Well, it's not
Right.
up to you. Your kid didn't do good, your kid should be in person.
Yeah.
Oh, but they're not going to get any socialization. Come on, get real. These kids talk all the time.
I know.
It's just the
It just
world we
that
live
just
in.
doesn't hold water anymore. That's just
No,
not
it
even a
doesn't.
valid
Even,
yeah.
even my own mother says it to me, and I'm like, what socialization are you talking about? They talk to their friends. They see their friends.
Right.
Like our neighbors take her away. It's not like they're running out to the busiest road around here and running
Right.
outside, but it's like
Yeah,
it's a
I know.
no-win argument there, but the facts are the facts. They don't get the same amount of socialization in school that we used to get. None
Well, they don't
whatsoever.
get the same type of socialization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not the same anymore.
No,
Socialization, it's different
it's
now. All right.
different.
It's via text. It's via and people are like, "Oh, but it's so bad." But guess what? That's the future. So we have to embrace it. We have to figure out a way to make it work, right? So all right. So now instead of our kids just naturally wanting to go out for a bike ride, we have to take an active role as parents, as, guardians or whatever it is to make those deliberate efforts to make those things happen now. Because if we don't, then maybe they're not
My
inclined to
kids,
go
they
out
go
and play
outside.
ball. Yeah, like my daughter
Yeah.
she doesn't like to go outside. All right. I'm also a homebody. We're not like, let's go for a hike. We're just not, we're like, let's log on to Fortnite. Okay, that's what we do.
Yeah, we're the Minecraft family,
Yeah, like,
or Roblox, but they
yeah,
still go outside,
yeah,
right? They go outside, they have fun, they'll do whatever in the summer. Like now, the pool's going to be open. We'll be
yeah.
in the pool every day. Their friends will be coming over. Yeah, granted, we got to be a little bit careful with Bailey, but it's totally way back if we get technical, right? When we were kids and you had to call outside your area code, your parents would be billed for those phone calls, right? So if your neighbor friends weren't around, and your best friends weren't around, what did you do? You sat home. You couldn't call out, but if all your friends in the neighborhood were gone for one day, you would have been sitting home by yourself. And we know how internet worked back then, and nobody would have ever survived. It's
Yeah.
like, I guess that's the biggest gripe. And then, and look, the conversations for teachers come in too.
Oh
You
my
know,
gosh.
I think it would
Yes.
bring a lot of teachers back. We lost a lot of teachers because of the pandemic.
Well, yeah, because again, here we go with the school,
Well,
they're rigid,
mandates.
they're rigid rules. They're rigid rules. Like you have to be, there's absolutely no reason on God's green earth that a teacher should be forced to go into a classroom physically. Like I feel like we have to start fresh. We have to take what we used to know as the golden rule or as the only way to do things, and that has to turn into a more flexible option. I
Like
just it has to.
it's like it's coming together with the broad idea and making it work. Like everybody else has it. Why doesn't New Jersey? So, what is the biggest problem we face in
Yeah.
being able to achieve it? Well, I can name a few off the hand, but I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
throw any one under the bus already.
I
That's a
yeah.
conversation for another day.
Well,
But
I don't think it's throwing anyone under the bus if it's true.
yeah, well, that's true, Sarah.
I mean, let's be honest here. Like we have to take what we used to know and we have to table it for a second and we have to look at the reality that we're being faced with today.
Mm-hmm.
And the sooner we start to see that we can see similarities, we can feel like, oh, well, this works good here, but let's go back to the shelf for a second. How do we get this to work in here? Like we have to rethink everything that we knew. Like if we can't evolve, these kids, you know what? We're going to have no kids in school because everyone's going to go on YouTube and figure out how do they need to learn algebra. They probably won't even need algebra. Okay? Kids don't even need to count change anymore.
No,
We
everything
pay with
is
our
digital.
phones. Yeah, we pay with our phones. We pay with our, our debit cards. Even that's like a thing in the past. You got to tap to. I had to tap to pay, and I'm sounding old as hell right now, but I literally just finally got my card with the tap to pay thing, and I thought it was. I was like, oh, I had to have my
I
daughter
don't
help
use
me.
that tap to pay. I don't like it.
I think it's great. You just tap it. Oh, it works
You tap and
immediately.
go. It makes things a lot easier. I guess maybe
Yeah.
that's where people are having issues because everything is too easy.
Why would you not
Virtual
want it
learning is
easy?
too easy.
Yeah, right. I don't.
They're not going to learn, right?
They will.
That's something we hear all the time. Oh, you can't. Nobody can learn that way. Bullshit. They've been
Yeah,
learning it for 20 years across the
that's
country.
right.
New Jersey is just stuck in
We're
freaking
slow. How
1980s.
it's insane that and especially for our school district, how are we a blue ribbon school district? Like, how?
Yeah.
You know, even the things that we're teaching these days, right? We need like a changing of the guard. And I'm not saying you have to get rid of all teachers. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. Whatever curriculum, whoever's putting this stuff in place needs to reevaluate what it is. Like, what will the students engage with? And I think with that comes with a younger generation. And again, I'm not saying that we have to push, the older seniority people. We don't have to push anybody out, but I think that there's a huge gap, right? And I think when generations start to collaborate, great things
Mhm.
can happen. And then we see in schools where the people who have been there X amount of years, they're not able to kind of change the way they do things, right? And so our newest teachers who are coming in, how are they learning how to teach? Why are we still training teachers to teach the same way that we've been teaching for 50, 60, 70, hundreds of years? It just makes absolutely no sense.
Right. We got to change as we
That's right.
evolve as people.
Yeah.
It, and just like that with virtual learning, some
Mm-hmm.
kids can learn better the traditional old way, right?
Right. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, but it's an option, right? Make it
It
an option,
is.
not
Go
the standard.
figure.
Yeah.
Like we
Look at
have
the core math.
everything. Yeah,
The
we
core
have
math.
that Common Core math is.
But guess
I'm
what?
like,
Now we can add 4 + 4, 29 different ways. Thank God. Blessings.
and there was only one way when we were kids, and that was in our brain, in our mind.
Right. But somebody somewhere somehow said, let's try it a different way. And people said, hey, we can try it a different way and get the same result. That's the wildest thing ever. That's the
Go
conversation that we're
figure.
having. If we try something a different way and it gets the same result, maybe even better result, maybe even quicker result, why are we
Hmm.
not doing it? Why is that not on the table?
I don't get it. Like, they will use every excuse that they can fathom to try to say we can't have we're number one in the country. No, we're not. We are not number one. In fact, those that are above New Jersey have public virtual schools. Why is that?
Crazy.
Because some children learn differently. That's why we have IEPs. That's why we have 504s. Every child learns different.
Yep,
Not one child will learn just like the one sitting next to them. And that's what we
exactly.
really need to drive is they're all different. None of us are the same. We are all unique. We are all different. But it's for some, they just learn they're better visual learners. They are not in-person learners. And I'm trying to think of the most polite way to get it across without sounding like
Just
angry
let
and
it out.
bitter.
But you're allowed to be angry and bitter because I feel
It's
angry and
bullshit.
bitter because they failed my kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Their inability to be
Understand.
flexible
Yeah. Well,
failed my child, forcing me to take her out of the school. So that shouldn't be an option.
no. And it's the lack thereof of children with medical issues and disabilities. I mean, New
Yeah.
Jersey can preach. We have a great special education system. Guess what? It's better. It's a lot better than many other places that I will say. But there is still an extreme component to where New Jersey as a whole, our legislators, our NJEA, our governor, our schools, our districts, our superintendents lack the knowledge of what it is like to be a parent of a child with medical issues. And that's my biggest gripe in New Jersey because they have no idea. Their attendance
Yes.
policies are nothing but BS. It
Yep.
all revolves around the funding they get. That's why they need to report those absent numbers. Look,
Yeah.
kids are going to be absent. I don't agree with, oh, you're going to go on vacation for 5 days to Disney World and your kid is not going to be in school. No, your kid should be in school. If your kid is sick, you keep them home. If you have to take them to the doctor, you try to maneuver the schedule where they go to school and you pick them up, or you're sending them in late, right? But there is a great lack of that understanding. 9 days, is it? 9 days in New Jersey where high school students will lose credit.
I don't even know, but it's ridiculous, whatever it is.
And virtual learning attendance was a lot better. How funny is that?
So it's so crazy how when you can log into a computer and get the same access to the same materials, it's crazy. Yeah,
It's 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 frustrating. It's frustrating because nobody could see the bigger picture. Don't even
right.
get me going on kids that are on home instruction. For the
Yeah.
first time in all the years that kids have been going to school and have been on homebound instruction, they were actually able to participate with their classmates. They were able to participate and feel a part of their classroom and
Right.
socialize. Hey, what's that? Something they don't think happens with virtual learning. In fact, all the kids on home instruction that were homebound never were able to go to school, were able to be a part of our education system, and
Right.
were able to see their classmates and weren't relying on a teacher coming after 3 p.m. only, when that was to say their time to talk on the phone with one of their friends or video call with their friends or whatever.
Yeah,
It's just, it's so screwed up.
I
Like,
know.
Murphy, take a lesson from Colorado. They've been doing it for 20 years. A lot of their students go on to Yale and Harvard and Stanford. I You can't ask much more. Like, your kids in New Jersey are going to be the same. If they're good at it, they'll be able to do it. If they're not, then they need to be in person or
Yeah.
homeschool or private school. We have everything in New Jersey that revolves around school choice except for virtual learning and ESAs. Those are the two items we do not have. And everybody else does.
Well, there's a few things. So first, we talked about special education. I think everyone's like, "Oh, that just means people are slow learners," and it just doesn't. All right. So
Yeah,
the definition of special education, I don't even know. Maybe we don't even call it that anymore. Maybe we
no,
just
we
break the
really don't. Most
barrier,
parents call their kids,
break the barrier right
neurodiverse.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not special education, right? It used to mean a different thing when we were growing up, but it's different now.
yeah,
Because I would bet any amount of money that half would fall into the not special versus special education,
yeah,
because that's just the nature of the beast right now. And the other thing is that we're all more accepting and we're more understanding of everybody's, needs, I think, just from a human standpoint. And our younger generation, they're all over it. They see everything. They know exactly what's going on. So
so here we go.
our
The
definitions need
education
to
of
change.
children. Yeah. The
Yeah.
education of children who differ socially, mentally, or
Yes.
physically from the average and require modifications
Yeah.
of usual school practices. So what does that mean? Well, that does mean, I could did whatever and whatever to get virtual learning, but what was the point? I'm not going to fight,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have the money anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But that definition of it and here for I'll screen share it. It Kids learn differently. Nobody learns the same. It doesn't matter if they need a special education, or they are, AP honor students. You know what? Some of those AP honor students, maybe they're not getting enough in class and they want to be able to do a little bit better. Maybe instead of being secluded into 4 classes a day, they may want to be able to take 6 a day with virtual learning. And that is something
Yeah.
that they can do.
Right.
They can take as many courses as they want at one time. And the good thing
Yeah.
is, if they can't handle it, they can work on it at a later time.
Right.
So when they're learning something, and you know what? They have to go back, and this is just any student. If they have to
Yeah.
go back and watch it, they can. They have access to be able to rewatch their teacher giving a lesson
Yep.
so that they can process it.
Yeah.
So
This makes me
I
want to go
invite
down a rabbit
anybody that's
hole.
watching on YouTube to
Yeah.
comment.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Please share your experiences or comments. I mean, this is like all open and we're going to post,
We got to do this more often, but how much
Yeah,
more can you say? Like,
I
we need
know.
the parents. So
Yeah.
we need
Yep.
everybody to recognize that, hey, Tommy over here needs this. I'm not going to butt my nose into it. I'm going to say, you know what? Go for it. You
Yeah.
want it, you get it. Don't sit and tell parents virtual learning's bad. It was bad for your kid, let's face it. And
Yeah.
it's okay. They should have never been forced to do it. That's not what New Jersey Parents for Virtual Choice is about. We are about bringing that option so students have access to an education.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And guess what? The
Hmm.
teachers get access to it also. So I think that there would be a lot of teachers out there that would love to have
Well, and I think
a work
that's the
from
fear
home day.
too. Right.
Like,
But
why not? Like,
I know, but they're fearful that teachers will be lost. And so then it will mess with the algorithm in the schools, right? It'll
wait a
displace
minute.
teachers that we need in person. But then
What
again,
does that mean? They're fearful that the teachers would be lost.
teachers would move over to the virtual side and they would lose in-person teachers.
I think there would still be teachers that
Oh,
want to be
I
in.
know there would, because you do have, your traditional teachers that don't believe in virtual learning, and you do have teachers who believe in virtual learning.
Yeah.
So I keep looking up. I don't know what it is with my camera.
A hybrid method would be really great. That would be like a great first starter. Start bringing in
Oh,
teachers that, let's say Mondays is a, you know, login from home day.
yeah, they didn't like that.
I don't
Nobody
know
liked
why.
that.
Why
Apparently,
doesn't
the
anyone like
hybrid
that?
was so bad. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe that more revolved around parents needing to be home with the younger
Well,
kids
yeah.
and,
Well,
it
yeah, and maybe it's
messing up
not
work.
right for all ages, right? I mean,
Yep.
this is because, there's a lot of constructs within our society too, right? Back in the day, it used to be the dad worked and the mom stayed home with the kids, right? Well, now both parents, and especially in New Jersey, by the way, majority of people have to work. Not everybody also has two parents in the home.
Hmm.
There's so many different reasons. And so that's why I don't know. New Jersey really needs to just kind of like look within themselves. Okay. They have to look beyond their inner
Beyond
circle.
themselves.
They have to look beyond their little inner circle and they have to see what reality looks like. And they need to get more input from parents, all right? Single parents, unwed parent. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Guardians. I just, it's mind numbing to me. Like I think back of that what was that recording that we heard? There was the assembly got together and they were talking
Oh,
about,
the emergency hearing in February
yes,
where virtual learning was completely bashed by a
yes,
certain teachers union in New Jersey
yes.
because it wasn't okay and they made false
Well,
statements,
they made very, very biased statements.
biased. Yeah.
Very biased because maybe that was their truth, but it wasn't everybody's truth, right?
No, it wasn't. Like,
So,
if we're going to bring in a provider, they have to have licensed teachers here. Nobody
right,
can teach here without being licensed.
right,
And that's just a fact.
right.
So, how do we? That hearing was the worst because you know what? They didn't invite not one advocate for
Yeah,
virtual learning. And in
yeah.
fact, not one advocate at all. They only invited the teachers union and
Well, and some of the providers, the third party
the third
providers.
party providers. Yeah. And they were able to debunk a lot of what
Yeah,
was being said.
that's
And then
right.
you had the Superintendents Association. They actually said that virtual learning is helping. It is helping with attendance
Yeah,
issues.
because it can
Yeah.
complement it. It can complement it. Like it doesn't have to be or, it can be and, right?
Yeah. Could be. And
Very simply, right? I know it sounds so easy, right? There's
it
already
sounds
companies
so
out there
easy.
that, yeah, they're recognizing it. They see that it's an option. And the biggest thing that came up too was, and I don't understand this. I don't understand
Mm.
this. So this has to come from a place of monetary something, something, right? Where they are demanding
Oh, that
that,
they pay?
no, they're demanding that the teachers must reside in New Jersey.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
ridiculous. They just tried passing a bill not too long ago that anybody could be a teacher in New Jersey
Yes.
because of teacher shortage.
Yes. As they
People
should.
who aren't, even finished, I would say, getting whatever, post-secondary.
As they
I can't say
should.
for certain though. We need teachers, right? How
Yeah.
did we lose so many teachers?
I
Let's
can,
try to figure out why.
well,
Oh, we'll
yeah.
probably get shut down by saying it, but I mean, come on. If
No. Let's be honest here. You know what they said in that, and everybody has access to it. This is public information.
Yeah, we should
They
share
went
it.
around the room, guys. They went around the room and they said, hey, so how much do we start our teachers at in New Jersey? After they made the grand statement that everybody has to reside in New Jersey if you want to be a teacher in New Jersey. There was 40,000, 45,000, 40,000, 45,000, maybe a 50,000, I think. And that wasn't even in the Princeton area. This was not in the Princeton area, as a matter of fact. So you would think like the wealthier areas would be able to afford to pay their teachers more. Absolutely not. Do you really think $40,000 is enough to survive in the state of New Jersey? Because it definitely is not.
No.
So for you to not only force these teachers to have to pay for their own supplies, pay them peanuts, and you want them to commute back and forth. Do you even know how much gas is? Like, get out of your inner circle. Do you even know how much gas is? They already lost money. You want them to be happy teaching these kids? Hell no. Come on. Let's be real. Let's be real, New
None of us
Jersey.
can afford to live on that, let
Right.
alone a teacher that has to provide
Right.
everything for his or her own classroom.
Right. Yeah, and the newest teachers, they just got out of college and they have to pay their tuition bills. They have to
Yeah.
pay all the loans back. Do you honestly think that paying them peanuts is enough for them to live in the state of New Jersey, happily teach in this role, and also pay off everything else? Absolutely not. You want to know why we're losing teachers? This is why. We do not pay them enough and we are not flexible with them. This is insanity. All right. So we have to go back to the drawing board and figure something out
Well,
because
I
holding
mean,
people
let's
to
just
these
say,
strict standards is a problem.
like, the odd thing is, and I'm sorry, I get it, right? It's damn hard to be a teacher. I will never deny it's teacher
Yeah.
that it is an easy job. It is by far not an easy job because, now there are students with IEPs that are struggling in their general education classroom. Now they're expecting that general ed teacher to be able to help that child, but that general ed teacher has to be able to help all the other students also. It's like they're having to teach 4 different things at one time. Well, why don't we fix that issue by doing something about it?
Yeah. I mean, I've even seen more classrooms, especially, when my daughter was in school, a lot have assistant teachers. So you're getting multiple teachers in a classroom anyway, because of the fact that kids are already learning different. And, we talk about the IEPs and 504 plans, all right? It's not just for, special needs kids, by the way.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you, I've seen so many comments, right? From parents talking, oh, my child has, they need to talk to a therapist, or they're having some, anxiety. Do you know how many we've had anxiety our entire lives, right? But it was never something that we commonly talked about, because we, growing up, Gen X are here, we were told to just suck it up and do what we had to do. But it's not that way anymore. People are a little more empathetic, right? And so our schools need that empathy. So, we have to rethink all of this, because the 504 plans would cover that too. I mean, so maybe you're getting bullied, right? Like, it doesn't look the same today as it did 20 years ago when we were in school. Meet me at 3 o'clock, right? No, like now the kids are getting bullied all the time. Like, and then you're gonna force them to go into a school and have to deal with this person on top of it. I don't even know. I couldn't imagine.
You have people that will say, "Oh, but taking them out of that situation is not any good." Why
Oh, yes,
not?
it is.
It's not up to you.
It absolutely is good. And not only that, like, I even question whether or not the guidance counselors are equipped to deal with this these days.
It really is. Like,
We gotta, get out of the old school mentality, and we have to adopt the new school mentality. And that is evolving.
We gotta like post this on YouTube. And what I would like is for everybody, listen to this hearing in full. Because I don't know if I can, Sarah, because
what are you worried about?
My connection is so bad. I want people to listen to this hearing and listen to what is being said.
Yeah.
It's hard enough. But if we sit here and we're playing debate system, right? That it's going to be something to debate. And a lot of things, and this isn't a jab at our teachers, because New Jersey
absolutely not.
Virtual choice, we love our teachers, and they need not to have 30 kids in a classroom.
Yeah.
Districts, they are well over that. How can one? I don't know how they do it. I mean, and that's kind of like what I say about that working mom that has to go to work all day, and she comes home and she has to make dinner, and she's going to do this and that. Yeah. Like, I cannot imagine having to work on top of everything that I do now, but technically I am working, but that's neither.
But that was me. That was me all the time. And you know what? I had to drive an hour each way to my job. All right. I would have to leave at like 7:30 in the morning, work all day, get home at like 6 o'clock at night. And then I had zero time to decompress. I had to make some food, or, take the dog out, or I had to, run and get some groceries. Like, come on. Do you know how great having a hybrid work environment is for me now? Because I can get up in the morning, I can walk my dog. I mean, my kid's not in school anymore, but when she was, like, I would do that. I would bring her to school. I would come back. I would log into work. I would take my lunch just like I typically would. But now, guess what? Like, I'm walking into my kitchen. I'm doing some dishes. I'm doing some laundry. And now at 5 o'clock, I can just shut down. I can just shut down and live my life. Everybody should get that option.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, a lot of people do enjoy. I see it on the news all the time, like Fox 5, NY, Good Day New York. I used to watch that morning show all the time
Yeah.
until the one lead was like, "Oh, we're not going back to virtual, are we?" It works for some people. And
It's
like,
work-life balance.
yeah,
It's, you
like
know,
everything is not the same anymore. And,
yeah.
you're talking all the New Jersey roads. It takes you 20 minutes to go 2 miles because all the traffic.
Yeah. And they're
So
only getting
you,
worse.
yeah. So your employee is getting pissed off by the time they get to work because they've sat in traffic for
Mm-hmm.
an hour and a
That's
half
right.
when they only work 20 miles away.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
granted, there
right.
are those many jobs that cannot be done remotely.
Of course, there
But there
aren't.
are those that have the capability really should try, because not for nothing, they could save money on a building, having to
Yeah.
house all these employees.
Yeah, absolutely.
Common
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
kind of like with the kids,
the option. We have the option. That's what it all comes back to, is the option.
we need
When you
everybody.
have an option, it just automatically makes you feel better. You just
Yeah,
feel like
less
something's
stress.
off your shoulders. Oh, it's an option? Wow, I feel less forced to do it
Right.
because it's an option. Come
Right. And
on.
I mean,
This is
granted, New Jersey can do, like, say, PA. The kids have to go and do testing at the end of the year to make sure that they are where they are supposed to be.
honestly, I could go down another rabbit hole with this. I think all testing should just go away. I don't think it proves anything other than you're really good at
Yeah,
taking tests.
because yeah,
That's
some
how I
people
feel
can't
about
take
that.
tests,
Yeah, I'm a bad test taker. Did
I always
crappy.
was.
I
I
was
always
always
was.
bad.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't
you know,
stand it. I would skip school on purpose.
that's my stance on that. I know not everybody agrees with me, but that's how I feel about it.
Well, then
Testing
you
is
know,
silly. It's silly. It proves
homework,
nothing.
if they don't learn it in person, they're not going to be able to get it through the homework that night,
Yeah.
unless their parent is a math genius or a science whiz, or, a professor of English, you know,
I it's
especially with that
also
Common Core crap.
yeah, and it's all just silly right now because what are we prepping these kids for?
I don't
So
know.
all right, you did really great on a test. Now what? You get to go to a college. Here's another stance that not everyone's going to agree with, but I don't think college is the end all be all. I don't think everybody should have to go to college. I don't think it's necessary, especially in this world. You know how much you can get educated online right now? Like, you don't
I
need to
mean,
spend
it's
hundreds and
crazy.
thousands of dollars to go to a good college. That's just not a necessity anymore. You know how many
Yeah, you could go
jobs
to
are out
community
there now?
college and do just fine.
Yeah, and it's not even, you don't have to go to college at all. You can get jobs right now that don't even require you to go to college, okay? All you have to do is you need to have a passion for something. See, I
Hmm.
could go down this entire rabbit hole. This could be a whole other topic. You
Well,
you
it
don't
could
even
be a
need to
whole
go to
nother
it.
topic, but we need to get back to our
I
topic.
know.
So,
Well, this is part of our topic, but yeah.
yeah, well, it is, because you got work. A lot of people will come
Mhm.
back and say, "Oh, what about the working parent?" Well, if you have a working
Yeah.
parent that was going to somehow homeschool, they would be doing the same thing. A family member, maybe, or the child will be at work with them. You just don't know, and it should always be up to the parents and nobody else. This new bill that New Jersey has pitched, it's got thrown out, and that's something we do have to talk about, because it's a shit show. It is useless. The state wants control, and only them. Okay, and I'm going to pull it up and we're going to screen share it, and we're going to tear it apart, because it was thrown out a while ago. And some people say, isn't it a step in the right direction? Yeah, but no, it's not.
How much time do we have left? We have what? Like we're gonna go until 8, right? So maybe like another 13 minutes.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, let's end by tearing apart the bill and then
yeah.
then we'll recap this and then, we want it doesn't have to be
We
just
need
Deanna and I
parents.
talking to each other. Yeah, we said yeah. At the end of the day, these conversations are really important because we get to
For
hear everybody's thoughts about it.
we got to
And
figure out why Facebook was being stingy and wouldn't show the live. And I just
yeah,
put
we'll
that bill
figure that
in.
out. Yeah.
Um, but we want parents. Here it is, Sarah. I found it.
Oh,
858.
perfect. Oh, are you able to share it or is it gonna freeze you up?
I probably can.
Wait, was that the one that you posted in Facebook?
Mm-mm, I don't think so.
Oh, because there was
I
another
don't.
bill that you posted and I was reading it today and I was like, what are they trying to say?
Yeah, it could be. Let me know if it's the same
It was like
because
the 180-day thing.
no, this is different.
Okay.
Can you see it?
It says that you started screen sharing. Oh yeah, here it comes. All right. All right, I
Okay.
gotta make this bigger because my eyes. Okay, here we go.
Requires Board of Education to directly employ certain professionals, permits Board of Education to contract for certain personnel, permits use of virtual and remote instruction for public school students in certain circumstances. Okay, look, I gotta give credit where credit is due. They're trying. And I don't understand why Senator McKnight is not highlighted anymore. She's one of our supporters. Pamela Lampitt, one of our supporters. This is when it was introduced, but I'm going to go to the reprint because they give it a new bill number now. So now we're somewhere else, right? These bills never go anywhere. Now I get it. They all have regular jobs. But this is why you need advocates. This is why only certain areas should not be the deciding factors. You pull in advocates to talk about this and to talk about that, but you never pull them in to talk about education. You're only going to pull in those that you want that are going to deny that virtual learning is any kind of good.
Do you mind sharing that link in chat real quick?
Oh,
So I
yeah.
can see it. My old eyes can't focus on it.
Trying to. Stop screen sharing because it's all wonky. So if we pull it apart or try to, because this is going to take a long time, like we're not going to be able to pull it all apart.
Well, we can read like the synopsis of it, which kind of puts it in English, right? So if you're not somebody that's like, I'm this person where I like to just read the freaking summary.
Well, yeah,
But I don't see it now.
They put all the BS in there, you know?
Okay, so let's see. Synopsis requires Board of Education to directly employ certain professionals, permits Board of Education to contract for certain personnel, permits use of virtual or remote instructions for public school students in certain circumstances. So I assume that they're talking about the third party companies, like the Pearsons of the world, right?
Oh, that's what we should share before this. The audio, the opening statements to that hearing in February. And then maybe.
Yeah.
Because some are gonna try, and that's fantastic. And that's okay. I want them to try. Let me know if you can hear it.
Wait, what do you want to share? The audio?
Yeah.
Oh, you have it. Okay.
I think I have to screen share that in order to do it.
You shouldn't have to. You should be able to just share audio. Should be an option.
Video, computer, audio. All right, let me know.
I'm honored
Yep.
to do this hearing with my
Perfect.
colleague, Chairwoman Lampitt. Ask her for any opening remarks, and then I guess, do we have to do a roll call for a hearing, or? Okay, a roll call. Before we start that, if it's all right, if we could just do a Pledge of Allegiance.
Try to skip that.
Into the
Assemblywoman Fantasia.
Here.
Assemblyman Stanton.
Senator Gopal.
Okay, we will start with the first. Sure.
How do yours work? Is this on? Okay, all right. Well, welcome everybody. This is probably an unusual start to the new session, seeing the Assembly and the Senate together, doing a joint hearing. This is an important issue, and we know everybody's time is valuable, and knowing the fact that time is valuable, the important issue, I think, for the senator and myself and our members to hear everything at the same time
But
about
not
this
from us
particular issue
parents.
became very heightened in terms of the need to do a joint session right out of the starting gate. So we hope to do more. As you know, as the chair of the Assembly Education Committee, we've done several different types of joint hearings, be it on school safety. And so it's not unusual, but it's certainly not something that the senator and I have done just yet. But I think collaboration and partnership is the theme for this session. We've got a lot of lofty issues that we need to get done. I welcome all of my new members. As you can see, there are new members. I do not have a returning person except for Assemblywoman Matsakoudas and Assemblywoman Simonson. So everybody needs to be brought up to speed. Education issues are lofty. We're all very passionate about them. I encourage all of the advocates to reach out to new members. Make sure that they understand, your role, your function. I would also...
Funny, right? Sarah?
Yeah.
Funny, right?
Try to encourage all of you to talk about the collaboration amongst all of you. Everybody seems to think that, one side would take one particular opinion about an issue and then another side would be diametrically opposite, and that is not the case. This is I'm looking at an outstanding group of people who have worked collaboratively with the senator and I on this last session, and we're looking forward to rolling up our sleeves and getting done some lofty issues this year. So thank you very much for coming. Welcome new members, and we're going to get started.
Okay. First organization we'd like to call up is the New Jersey Education Association.
Good morning. With your permission, I'm going to have our members speak first, and then I'll be the closer. Is that all right?
Sure. Just please state your name for the record.
Teresa, do you want to start? Okay, just push your button. Yep. Good morning. Teresa Fuller. Aside from teaching my own students remotely during the COVID pandemic, the only other time I'd heard of virtual instruction was on HGTV's House Hunters International, when young teachers who had just found their dream home in some exotic locale would gaze into their computer screen to educate students who were in a classroom halfway around the world. That is until this school year, when I learned that my school district had entered into a contract with a company called Elevate K-12. According to Elevate's website, nothing can replace a real teacher in a classroom, but we're close. We do all the background work so you can relax, have peace of mind, and make sure that by using us, your students succeed. Upon further investigation, I found out that Elevate K-12 is a Chicago-based live teaching company who is rapidly expanding across the United States as a result of the educator shortage. While education experts blame a range of issues for the teacher exodus, including low salaries, growing workload, worsening student behavior, and growing politicization of school curriculum and teaching. Elevate K-12 says demand for these remote teaching programs has risen since the pandemic, with some districts spending hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars on virtual educators. Many
The rest of it, hour next time of that.
You broke up.
Sarah?
I couldn't hear what you said. You were breaking up.
Let it continue until she's done talking. I forget.
Well,
how
I
long
don't know.
she
I
talked.
don't know what part you wanted to specifically highlight for that.
It's coming up, I believe.
of
What?
my elementary school colleagues contacted
I believe it's coming up. Put it this way. Everybody can listen to it. It is readily available. I think I shared it like pretty quick when it
Well-
aired.
Well, why don't maybe we reshare it to the Facebook page just as a
We get it, right? We don't want the teachers to feel threatened. We don't want that. But our kids shouldn't be threatened either that they have to go in person only, because that's the only way children learn.
Yeah, and I feel like the tone and, if you go back and listen to this, just, anybody
Yeah.
that's watching this, when you go back, just the tone of it is for
Condescending.
for some reason, these folks are talking about, I use the term folks. I don't know what else to call it right now.
Mhm.
They talk about, teachers being replaced by these outside programs, when simply they're not being
They're
replaced.
not being replaced. They can't provide the teachers.
Right.
For
right.
certain classes.
Right. So
So
the
what
growing
are they supposed to
concern,
do?
so the growing concern is bringing third party, right? Let's focus on that piece. And we could talk about this maybe in our next time, is talking about the
Yeah.
third party companies who are providing online education as a full-time service. And
Yeah.
it's great for
And-
teachers, especially those who have had to retire, because they get to do it again. They get to do what they love to do.
Exactly. How many teachers did we lose that were forced to retire? They could have their chance. And if you listen further in the video and the audio, unfortunately, it is mentioned they're not paying into our system. Is that really the most important thing? Is they're not paying their dues? Aren't you happy that just maybe this school that did not have that class to offer students actually made it possible for them? Like, wouldn't you be upset if you had the opportunity and you say, oh no, we can't have that. Oh, you should not be learning AP biology virtually because you're not paying into our system.
Yeah. And the other concern that kept coming up, and again, we'll talk about this more because we're getting close
Yeah.
to time, but
We gotta
Yeah.
get off anyway.
yeah, it's
All
just
right.
it's just crazy. But you know what? We're gonna post the link to Facebook. If you're catching this live or whether or not you're catching this, on a replay, just reach out, because we're gonna try to do this, at least once a month, depending
Yeah.
on what our schedules look like. And it's not just gonna be us talking to each other, right? But it can be. But we'd
I
like
don't
to
wanna be
feature
talking to
people.
myself either.
But we'd like to feature people too, and we want to hear what kind of topics would be interesting to you all. From the New Jersey education standpoint, what we can do to make education more lenient, better, just amazing in the
How to
state.
help your neighbor.
Right.
How to help your teachers.
Yep.
you know?
Exactly. And this isn't just for parents. Bring your kids here. We want to hear from them. I mean, these are the most important voices that we need to hear. How is it affecting them?
Because
What would you like to see? We don't do enough of that. So lots of options, but let us know. Reach out to Deanna. She's awesome at this, and she
That's
knows all
right.
this legislative jargon and everything else. So like when we talk about bills, I'm kind of like, oh, she knows everything. All right. She knows all the legislators, everything. All right. So like you have any questions? Oh, she knows who to talk to and about what. So that's that.
I mean, but we need the parents, right? The other ladies that were here and they moved on, and that's okay. And I stayed behind, but that behind now is catching up to me and my kids, and my husband too. Yeah, you're going on a call. Do you get paid for this? No, no,
Right.
no.
Yeah. We're doing
Okay.
it because we're passionate about making good quality change and something that,
Exactly.
my kid's already out. So like I don't have a dog in the fight, so to speak, but I do care deeply about evolving our society in a way that's going to benefit people in the future. Everybody can benefit in the future. All right. And so we have to start
The
from the
kid
ground up.
learns the same.
Exactly. Exactly.
We need the parents and we need the students and we need the stories, we need them to talk.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know,
And we know
come
we're
up
not
with-
alone. We know that there's others like us that feel this way, and you're in this combo with us. So join us. But with that, I think we're done, right? We're signing off.
Yep, signing off. Make sure it's not on YouTube.